Welcome back, Giants fans. Some pretty big news just dropped this morning in the Giants world, as it is being reported by several Giants insiders that Dave Gettleman and the New York Giants will not restructure Eli Manning's contract. Now, I was of the belief about a week ago that they would and they should do it. $23.2 million for a game manager is a lot of money, and the Giants could use as much as they could get. Now, again, as I said, I am not a capologist. I would have assumed that they would have stretched it over 2 years and cut him next year, or he would have retired. That's what I thought would have happened. Now, I will say this is good, I guess, for next year's cap, because you won't be taking any dead cap hits, and the money will be completely off the books. But for this year's cap, after all the recent moves, of course, yesterday they brought in Zeitler, but by doing that, they created another hole by getting rid of Vernon. They saved $1.5 million in cap savings after all the happenings there, and now that they've brought back Jalapio, they've brought back Rosas, they've brought back Corey Coleman. I did expect them to bring back Jamon Brown, which they will not have to do now with the addition of Zeitler. He will certainly be the starting right guard. Jalapio will be the starting center. So they have just under $21 million to spend in free agency when you factor in the money that will need to be allocated for draft picks. They have $32 million, but SportTrack is estimating $11 million will have to be spent on draft picks. So they will have just about $21 million as of today, with 6 days to go before free agency. And they have two vital needs. Since the departure of Collins and Vernon, they need to fill those two spots. We'll start with the safety position. The safety position, I wrote down 4 names. You have DeMarcus Joyner of the Rams, and SportTrack estimates he is going to cost about $10.6 million a year over a 4-year span. You have Earl Thomas, who's 30 years old, coming off an injury. SportTrack estimates a little less than what I was expecting, and he still may make more than this, but they estimate that he will make $10.5 million a year. The Honey Badger is estimated to make $8.7 million a year, and he is certainly a pretty good coverage safety. A lot of people seem to think that he may be even able to transition to the cornerback on certain teams. Of course, for the Giants, he would be playing safety. And you have the guy that I've been talking about all along because of his age, because of his cost effectiveness, Adrian Amos. He is 25 years old, and he will cost the Giants, on average, according to SportTrack, right around $8 million. So those are the 4 names you're looking at in free agency at the safety position. Now for the pass rusher. The big name still on the market, of course, is Trey Flowers. The Patriots decided not to franchise tag him, but he is estimated to make $15.7 million according to SportTrack. So he's out of the Giants' price range, unless you want that to be their only key acquisition in the offseason. And I guess you could do that, but they really need to address the safety position vitally. So we're going to have to take a deeper look into pass rusher options. You have Shaquille Barrett. Shaquille Barrett was a starter for the Broncos before last season. He, of course, got supplanted by the rookie Chubb, and he rode the bench as a third stringer. But Barrett in the past has shown that he can get after the quarterback. He's never had a great season, but he's had a season. I think the year before he had a lot of QB pressures. He's decent. He's projected to make $7.1 million. You have Anthony Barr. Anthony Barr, well, he is definitely talented, projected to make $8.3 million. He's still young. He's coming from the Vikings. But to me, he's not really a pass rusher. Even though he plays the OLB, he's never had more than 4 sacks in a season. He's had some injury troubles. Don't think he fits what we're looking for. You then have Dante Fowler, who's projected to make $9.1 million on the open market, and he's still only 24 years old. Fowler, of course, was a high draft pick a few years ago who the Jaguars got rid of because he hasn't quite lived up to the billing, and they didn't have enough room on their starting roster. They traded him to the Rams, and now he has hit the open market. So he's a guy with high potential who has not lived up to it so far in his career, but he's certainly a guy I think the Giants could take a look at. And the guy that I like the most, who is projected to make $8.9 million, so right around the same, is Zadarius Smith from the Baltimore Ravens. He's 26 years old. He's coming off a year in which he had 8.5 sacks, so he's getting better as his career progresses. He's a very good pass rusher. He has a lot of good attributes, and that is a guy that I think the Giants could certainly take a look at. So if these projections are correct, when you take a look at the names on these lists, you're looking at a combination of the Honey Badger or Amos at the safety position with a Dante Fowler or Zadarius Smith, in my opinion, and they probably could fit under that $21 million budget if these projections are correct. So as Giants fans, that is what I'm hoping for going into free agency, because all these players that I just listed are 27 years or younger with high upside. So if they could come out of this offseason, this free agency offseason, with a combination of a Zadarius Smith and an Amos, or a Zadarius Smith and the Honey Badger, Dante Fowler and the Honey Badger, if they can get any combination of those 4 players together, I'll be pretty happy. That's what we're looking at. Now, of course, if Eli Manning was willing to take that pay cut, you could bring in another name. I'm off the bandwagon now of bringing in a Darrell Williams because they brought in another big, high-priced free agent to play the guard. I think they addressed that right tackle position in free agency. But if they could bring in some of these names in free agency, I think that shores up the defense a little bit, and then you go into the draft, you try to build it a little more. But unfortunately, Giants fans, we're going to have a little less money than we should. I was hoping that Eli Manning would have taken a pay cut. Unfortunately, he's not. So what are you going to do? As always, if you like what you watch, please subscribe, drop a comment, tell me your thoughts on this situation. What would you do with the money that the Giants have to spend? As always, cheers.